That's starting back up, and I usually. Come on, life. Catch back up. All right, Opus family. So, I'm back. Sorry we got disconnected. I. My streaming platform just doesn't. Like, this is the third week in a row at about 20 minutes. It's like, you're done. You can only talk for 20 minutes because I'll stay here half the day. If y'all wanted to, I would stay here half the day. Um, so, so we kind of talked about the why. And, as you're going through, if you don't understand the people that work for you, right? If you don't truly know what drives them, what gets them out of bed, like what is their burning passion, like you can't bring out the best in them. Like, I'm sorry, like if you don't know what my goals are and where I want to go in life, like you can't help me. And I think that understanding not only the company that you work for's values, but understanding your own and understanding your own goals is huge. Your manager should understand your goals, and honestly, they should be an advocate for you in that company to help you find developmental opportunities. Having essentially a sponsor and a mentor in your work life is huge, and they aren't the same person. A sponsor is doing things behind the scenes and talking to people and setting you up, and you don't know about it. Your mentor is the one that's giving you the feedback and talking to you about what you're doing and how are you going to help better advance, your position in your career. And that's something that, you've got a ton of talent that maybe is untapped that works for you. So tap into that. Start giving them the opportunity. You can wrap those things into their position and what they do on a regular basis. I had a young lady that worked for me, and she was going to school at the time, and she was going to be a marketing major, right? So I tasked her with driving new clients into the door, and what can we do, and what did she want to do, and what did she see, kind of thing, right? And so she created some flyers that we could hand out about the clinic and take them to places. It wasn't super outside the box, but it was a start, right? Like, so she came to me with her plan. She was going to create these flyers. They were going to give the information. They were going to give introductions, about the team and our veterinarian at the time. And she took them to all of the local pet-friendly places. And we saw about a 10% increase in new clients. People started wanting to come in to check it out because they knew a little bit about us. And a lot of times it was just, getting the word out. And if you think about that and you keep building on it, there's so much that you can do if you know what those people are looking for. You can task them with things that will grow the company, that will increase sales, that will increase visibility, that will get you out there. So when I brought up using my TikTok live to my boss, he was like, go ahead. I know it's not Opus right now, but I've got all my friends on here and then some new friends. And so I just, hey, I got to get used to it, and why not? Why not use the platforms that I was given? And we'll keep doing that and keep enjoying as, people cycle through and start asking questions, and, maybe you find something interesting and you want to follow Opus and you're trying to start a side hustle. We've got all different levels. But, too often nowadays we see that an employee has a bad day and they start looking for another job. And mind you, I did that. I left one job, went to another one. My onboarding experience for the new job was not great. It was not good, guys. Like, it was rough. I didn't feel welcomed. I didn't feel like my manager really, she wasn't necessarily the hiring manager. I didn't really feel like I was connected or engaged with her. I kind of felt like a burden to her. And I didn't learn what I felt like I should have learned as I walked through that. And it was really hard for me because, what I was tasked to do was to grow some businesses. And I had a great track record for it. But I was not set up to win at all. I didn't walk in feeling good about it. As I got through my training, I still didn't feel good about it. And so I just tried to start finding my own way. Eventually, my manager and I started clicking along, but some other things came up, and, we just split our separate ways. Just, hey, guess what? They got turnover. My experience wasn't great. I was told a couple of things, and then guess what? 60 days in, things started changing, and it wasn't necessarily what I had expected. They weren't, in my opinion, they weren't focused on that new hire's experience. And they had a lot of great tools that they weren't necessarily using. And so, having tools is great. If you're not using them or not using them properly, it doesn't do you any good. We do a lot of teaching over here. So I know a ton of people that have Microsoft Office that don't know that they've got options like Teams, and they can create a SharePoint site, and they can create, these planners where you can go through and you can see what you've got set up for a project. So using the tools that you've got to the extent that they're meant to use for can help your employees and can help that engagement. Shoot. Everybody figured out when we went on lockdown that you can get a lot more done working remotely. And they're saying right now, the study says that with the option of remote work, you're looking at about a 25% decrease in turnover for the companies that provide it, that allow for the remote work. So, to me, that's kind of a big deal. And it helps the flexibility for me to be able to work here. Opus is a company based out of Tiffin, Ohio. I live outside of Houston, Texas. It's great to be able to be here and to be able to work for such a good company, and for us and for me to still feel engaged, even though I'm not in the office every day, to still feel like I'm not left out in the cold, and I'm really part of the team. Spend a lot of time on teams with the CEO, the CFO, our IT department, whoever I need. Across sales and HR, just hop on a call real quick, and man, it's a whole different ball game than picking up the phone. I can see people face to face. We can do these kinds of lives and, really get out there, and, it's made a huge difference with that change. So, thinking through that. But engagement really is the part of your culture. Your employees' engagement to me is a big piece of culture, and how your company creates the culture, and then it then feeds into your clients and your customers. If your internal customers, so your employees, are not as a manager or as a high-paid executive, board member, whatever, if your internal employee and customers are not your priority, then your external customers, the one coming to your store, they won't be a priority for your employees. So just kind of rethinking where we sit and where your company culture is, really kind of changing that. Yeah, customers are great, and we really want to create a great experience for them, but if the experience for the employee and the experience for the partner or team member or whatever anybody calls them, if the internal process and the internal engagement is not there, then you can't have it on the external side. They're not going to give it to your customers. We want to hire good staff. We want to keep good staff. Regular one-on-ones, that's what's going to build your trust. That trust, having appropriate transparency. Don't come in and lie to all of your employees. My biggest pet peeve was, do it because I said so. I'm your manager, and do it because I said so. I despised that sentence. Don't tell me that. That I will turn around and walk out. Absolutely not. I need to understand a little bit of the why, so that I feel like I can invest it. It also helps align my why with the company's why. Again, building the culture, building the values, building in, that loyalty to the brand that you are trying to create, creating an open door, a true open door, and having that follow through. So, rewards are great, but if you give me a pizza party at the end of the week and, I'm not growing and I'm not learning, and, there's there's no empowerment for me. Pizza is only going to do it for so long, and that always tends to be on those long days when everybody's going to skip lunch. So take some time. Think about your culture this week. Think about, what is it in your life, what is it in your employee group? Heck, do it in your home. And what does that look like? We deal with it regularly at home too. Like, can you really have an honest conversation, or is your spouse, child, parent, sibling too worried about the reaction they're going to get, too worried about, the blowback that's going to happen to come and have that honest conversation with you? Do they feel like they're coming to you to tell you about a problem and you literally are listening, and all you're listening to do is to respond, not to actually help? I'll leave y'all with one last thought on that, and then we will pick this up next week after Valentine's Day. So I will call my manager now here at Opus, and my previous favorite manager. I would call them, and they now ask me, do you need help solving the problem, or do you just need to vent? And Lord knows that was the best thing. The first time that I was asked that, it was amazing, because I just wanted to vent. Like, I, as a neurodivergent, ADHD, whatever you want to call it, as someone with that superpower, I sometimes have to just get it out. Then I can process, and I can come to a rational conclusion. It just has to come out of my mouth, so that it doesn't happen to everybody else. It has to get out of my head so that I can think through it properly. And so I would walk in, and whatever was going on, and goodness knows I walked into some crazy things, I would walk in and go, holy shit, and you could read it all over my face, and I would turn around, and I was taking a phone call, but I was taking a phone call from my boss. I was calling my boss, and I was like, hey, I need 2 minutes. It's got to come out, and then I can process it and I can go back in. And I'd have a conversation. It would be a one-sided conversation where I would just let it go, and let him get all of what my frustration was. I'd get it all out. He would listen to me, and he goes, do you need anything from me? And I would tell him, nope, I got it. We're good. It just had to come out. And I would let it come out. And I solved a lot more problems just getting the things out than trying to continue the political correctness and continue the professionalism and just go through it, because ultimately I would just hit a point and it would boil over. And I still use that now. Hey, I really, I need some feedback. I need some help on this. Sometimes I need to vent first, and then we can talk through feedback. I did that earlier this week with a girlfriend of mine. Hey, I need to tell you this stuff, and then I'm going to ask for your opinion, but let me tell you all of this stuff. And I unloaded on her. And then, from there, then we could talk through it. But sometimes it's just all got to get out. Whether it's talking to ducks in a park, it's talking to a good friend of yours, it's talking to your manager. Sometimes those are the best things that you can do for your mental health and to get through the problem. But it also starts, the effect of that is that it starts to create kind of an open door policy. It starts to create that honesty and that trust. And that trust and that building of those relationships is what will reduce your turnover, increase your retention, and really build a better culture within your company. So, thank you, Opus family, for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you guys next week on any of our social media sites. You guys can join us on Twitter. You can join us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. I stream every Wednesday here. Same bat channel, same bat. That doesn't even work. But y'all join me, TikTok. I will see you guys on mine every Wednesday, roughly around 11:30, unless something comes up. But if you guys have any questions or topics you want to talk about, I am more than happy to take it. This month of February, we are talking about people, the people within the company, the people that we are, and the people that we work for. So, open to all the feedback, follow us on social media, Opus Management. If you're interested in our services, you can find us at opusmanagement.us. We also have opusmanagementdesigns.com. That is for our social media and branding branch. You can find me there, schedule time for a discovery call, or you can email me at k.roe, that's R-O-E, at opusmanagement.us. So look forward to talking to you guys next week on our next Water Cooler Wednesday session. Have a great Wednesday, everyone, and don't forget, next Tuesday is Valentine's Day, or my favorite, Singles Awareness Day, and we will